Title: It's cleanup o'clock in Montana. Hazardous chemicals getting an unwelcome eviction notice. TLDR. In Montana, they're having more than a regular train wreck cleanup. High-risk chemicals are on the scene and the cleanup crews have started their duty with all safety gears on. Like picking up after a toddler's playdate, but the toys are hazardous, yikes. So, our pals in protective gear, after rolling up their sleeves, or the equivalent for a hazmat suit, have kicked off the Herculean task of removing the risky substances that decided to crash the party when a train derailed. Now, let's dive in for some juicy deets, shall we? Strap on your safety goggles, folks. In Montana, the scene of a recent train derailment is making the plot of Breaking Bad look like a Saturday morning cartoon. Instead of lovable, rogue anti-heroes, we've got some unwelcome guests in the form of risky chemicals. Now, before you start having flashbacks to your high school chemistry class, shivers, this isn't about memorizing the periodic table or balancing equations. No. It's a real-life, real-time effort to get rid of these not-so-friendly elements. Kinda like an exorcism, but for chemicals, right? Our story begins, as these things often do, with a train derailment. The Montana train site turned from a scene of mundane transportation into the setting for a Michael Bay movie. The derailed train was loaded with more than just boxes and bovine, it was carrying hazardous chemicals. Now, that's a twist nobody saw coming. We're talking about substances that should come with their own handle with care label. The kind of stuff that makes you question who is in charge of loading these chemicals in the first place. So, what's happening now? Well, the cavalry has arrived, of course. Cleanup crews, looking like they just walked off the set of a sci-fi movie, are at the scene. Their mission, if they choose to accept, is to get rid of these pesky chemicals. You know, before they decide to throw a block party nobody asked for. But while our brave crews take on this task, we're left with a burning question. In the wake of this chemical spill, how will this event affect the local ecosystem and the safety standards of transportation? Will this be a wake-up call for stricter regulations on the transport of hazardous materials? This event is also a stark reminder of the everyday dangers that could be traveling on the same tracks that cross our towns and cities. It's easy to forget about these risks until they literally derail in front of us. But now that we've had this reminder, what steps can we take as a society to prevent future chemical spills? Remember, we're just here to get the conversation rolling like a well-functioning train. So, what's your take on this situation? Should we rethink our regulations regarding the transportation of hazardous materials? Disclaimer: this article is for information purposes only and does not serve as any form of advice or recommendation. The information provided herein does not offer any health,